Benedict Mathurin started his NBA career by pissing a lot of people off. He said, "A lot of people say LeBron is great. I want to see how great he is. I don't think anybody's better than me. He's gonna have to show me he's better than me." Dude, to say that about the potential GOAT before you've even played a game is wild. But on the court, he is backing it up. 32 points in his 7th NBA game, beating up on Rudy Gobert in the paint. Benn is pushing Paolo Banchero for Rookie of the Year off the bench. No one's ever won Rookie of the Year and Sixth Man of the Year at the same time, but he could. So how is this kid picked outside the top 5 so tough? Well, it makes sense when you hear what he went through growing up. Benn's draft suit paid respect to his brother who had just died a few years earlier. They grew up in Montreal, Canada with other Haitian immigrants. His story is kind of like Giannis. Giannis always says he was too Nigerian to be accepted in Greece, but he was too Greek to be Nigerian, so all he had was his family. Benn's older sister Jennifer put in overtime helping at home because their dad passed away. She also taught her younger brothers basketball, but she was so good that her coach said make a choice. Either be a superhero at home or chase your basketball dream. So she moved in with that coach to focus on hoops, but got a scholarship to NC State. That is so huge because poor kids never make it out of their neighborhood. And it was inspiring to Benn and his older brother Dominic. They promised to be just like their older sister, play college hoops, and make it to the NBA. But one day in 2014, the unthinkable happened to their family.
I was in college when it happened, so I remember just getting calls and messages saying, you know, your brother's in the hospital. He was going back home from school and riding a bike, and then he was hit by a car. And then the next day he passed away.
I really had nobody to talk to at night.
It was just surreal, very surreal, because I'd come home to see my brothers. And he just wasn't there.
After they buried Dominic, Benn was alone. His mom still had to work multiple jobs. Jen was off at college. So he started hanging out with kids who didn't love hoops or school really. And people told Jennifer, Benn is going down the wrong path. So she made a desperate phone call to her old coach back home.
I know it's a big ask, but can you please just take my brother? You know, we'll go talk to my mom, we'll figure it out. And he didn't flinch. He just said, okay.
I know it was hard to tell Ben that you're gonna have to focus on academics, but you will play basketball, and I will try to give you the best that I can to have you succeed on.
I think, you know, for him to do that, it just says how much of a good person, of a good heart he has. It's just unbelievable because not a lot of people would do that.
Not only did Benn excel in academics and basketball, he had a growth spurt to 6'4" at 15 years old. Star ice hockey player, quarterback of the football team, all because an AAU coach saved his life. But at 16 years old, Benn got his next huge break. He was being recruited to play in the States for high school like other Canadian players like Andrew Wiggins, but the NBA Academy in Mexico City called him up. They promised a secure campus, free housing, education, and basketball. It was a brand new project by the NBA, but they took a chance. Benn got there as a hard-headed 16-year-old. One day, a coach asked everybody, who is the best shooter in the gym? Everybody agreed it was this kid, Hyungjun Lee from South Korea, but Benn argued it was him. He turned himself from a big power forward to an NBA-style wing who could defend, shoot, and handle the ball. Colleges wanted him, like Baylor, who just won a national championship, but he went with Arizona because they promised him a bigger role as a freshman. Then, as a sophomore, he rocketed up draft boards. Benn averaged about 18 points, 6 boards, and 3 assists for Arizona. They lost to Houston in the Sweet 16, but Benn shot 39% from 3 and was Pac-12 Player of the Year. Entering the draft, he was compared to Jimmy Butler and Jaylen Brown, but he dropped all the way to number 6 behind Paolo Banchero, Chet Holmgren, Jabari Smith, Keegan Murray, and Jaden Ivey. He was taken by the Pacers, who were supposed to be the worst team in the league. Nobody in the East or West had a worse predicted win total. Now 20 games in, they can talk playoffs and not be laughed at. How did nobody see this coming? 6 years ago, they had a franchise player in Paul George. He shocked everybody, going from number 10 pick to an all-star in year 3. That year, they pushed the Miami Heat to 7 games in the East Finals and became LeBron's #1 rival. Then, PG broke his leg playing for Team USA in the offseason, and everything unraveled. George refused to re-sign, so they traded him to OKC for Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis. Both of those players became all-stars, but they were never dominant #1 type guys. The Pacers were in the worst spot in the NBA. Not good enough to be a contender, but not bad enough to get a top draft pick. They were average. Mostly an easy first-round exit for 5 years. Their owner is Herb Simon, who is one of the cheapest guys in the league, who also hates tanking. Indy has never tanked for a draft pick, but it looked like they were finally giving in last year. They traded 2-time All-Star Sabonis for Buddy Hield, Tristan Thompson, and second-year player Tyrese Halliburton. Yes, Tyrese is gonna be good in the future, but that is a rebuilding move. Miles Turner and Buddy Hield were about to be next. People reported, with Pacers embracing rebuild, Miles Turner's days in Indiana are numbered. But it's been like 300 days and he's still on the team? Instead, the Pacers were about to dominate everyone else's rebuild. Like the Thunder and the Pistons are taking forever to get good. The Pacers traded for Tyrese, got a starting center Jalen Smith for nothing, then nailed their 2022 pick. And there was so much pressure because they hadn't had a pick that high since 1989. They picked Benn Mathurin, who is in a great position to succeed. His coach is Rick Carlisle, who can rub vets the wrong way, but he is a great teacher for young players. Shares the backcourt with Tyrese Halliburton, who's taken another leap. Tyrese is an all-star level player who looks like the best young playmaker in the league. He became the first player to get 40 straight assists with 0 turnovers in NBA history. He and Mathurin have instant chemistry together, but a meeting with the Lakers could be a wake-up call. Before the game, everybody brought up that quote that Ben said calling out LeBron, and people said, LeBron's gonna have to address Benn Mathurin? Like, who is this dude? The Pacers were down 17 on the road with under 10 minutes to play. Ben scored 8 of his 23 points in the fourth and helped hold LeBron to 1 bucket. Then, down 2, their other rookie, Andrew Nembhard, hit the game-winning 3. The Pacers have won 8 games when trailing at least 10 points, and Ben outplayed LeBron. LeBron 21-7, Ben 23-8 off the bench. So much has happened in his life for a regular season game to be too big. Ben said, "Everything I do is for my brother. He is always with me. We did everything together. I had 1 chip on my shoulder already, but his death put another one. I got chips on both shoulders now. Whichever way people bump into me, they're gonna hit one of them." Notice I did not call out Russell Westbrook for that Laker loss, even though he did have some pretty bad plays, because I know that he's kind of the scapegoat at this point. It's not all his fault. Just dropped the brand new merch store. Check out this shirt and others right below this video. But I am bummed that more people did not watch the Lonnie Walker video that I just dropped. I've had some people tell me it was their favorite video I've ever made. If you haven't seen it, check it out right here.